All right, let's do a little thought experiment. I want you to think about three people from history who, at first glance, have absolutely nothing in common.
First up, picture a mathematician, a brilliant mind, but also an early civil rights activist who was literally hounded out of his own country just for fighting against segregation.
Okay, next, think of an astronomer. Someone who poured a quarter of a century of his life into this epic, once-in-a-lifetime quest. A quest that, as it turns out, was tragically doomed from the very beginning.
And for our third person, a professional violinist. Someone so dedicated to music that he didn't even dip a toe into the world of mathematics until he was 35 years old.
So you've got the activist, the astronomer, the musician. What on earth could possibly tie these incredible and incredibly different lives together?
Well, the answer starts, believe it or not, with just a number.
That's it. February 28th. It turns out every single one of them was either born or died on this one single day. Pretty remarkable, right? Now, this isn't just some quirky piece of trivia. This one date acts like a fascinating historical lens, bringing this whole constellation of amazing stories into sharp focus. It gives us a snapshot of the diverse, the dramatic, and the deeply human side of science.
So let's kick things off with a story that proves it is never ever too late to completely change the world, or at least our understanding of it.
Let me introduce you to Alexandre-Théophile Vandermonde, who was born on February 28, 1735. For the first 35 years of his life, his dad really pushed him towards music, and he got good, like really good. He was an accomplished violinist. And then at 35, something just clicked. He suddenly pivoted entirely to mathematics. And the incredible thing you see here is how fast it happened. He was elected to the Academy of Sciences in 1771, only a year after his very first paper was even read.
And get this, his entire mathematical career, the whole legacy he left behind, is based on just 4 papers. That's it, 4.
But wow, what a set of 4 papers they were. We're talking revolutionary. One historian, a guy named Kronecker, flat out said that modern algebra began with Vandermonde's very first paper. He was playing with ideas about determinants and functions that were just so far ahead of their time, ideas that would eventually pave the way for group theory. From a violinist to the father of modern algebra, all in 4 papers, just incredible.
Okay, so from that sudden burst of genius, our next stories are something else entirely. We're going to look at mathematicians who took on these monumental, almost impossible projects. These are stories of pure, obsessive dedication.
This is the story of Guillaume Bigourdan, who died on February 28, 1932. Back in 1884, he started a colossal project to map the exact positions of every known nebula in the northern sky. For 25 years, think about that. For a quarter of a century, he painstakingly observed and recorded 6,380 of them. The goal? To create a baseline so that future astronomers could see if they were moving, to detect their proper motion. And here is the twist, the truly poignant part of the story. His life's work was based on a flawed premise. What he was looking for simply couldn't be seen. Those nebula, which we now know are actually entire galaxies, are just way too far away. So while his main goal was impossible, the meticulous catalog he created was still an incredible achievement in its own right.
Speaking of monumental tasks, just look at this number for a second. 100 million.
That was the goal for Jakob Kulik, who died on February 28, 1863. For 20 years, just as a hobby, mind you, he worked on a massive manuscript, a table of the smallest divisors for every single number up to 100 million. His unpublished papers are basically a mountain of calculations, now sitting in an archive, still incomplete, with some volumes totally lost. What a staggering ambition.
So we've gone from obsessive quests to, well, obsessive principles. These next 2 mathematicians, also connected to February 28th, risked everything, their careers, their safety, for what they believed in.
Lee Lorch died on February 28, 2014. He was a brilliant mathematician, but he was also a deeply passionate civil rights activist. And as you can see from this timeline, his principles cost him dearly. He was fired from 3 different universities for fighting against racial segregation. The harassment got so bad, we're talking death threats and even a cross burned on his lawn, that he was eventually forced to leave the US and move to Canada in 1959.
Now, check out this quote. It's from a book review about our next mathematician, Hyman Levy, who was born on February 28, 1889. And it captures the exact moment his conscience slammed head-on into his politics.
You see, Levy was a longtime member of the British Communist Party.
In 1956, he was sent to Moscow to investigate rumors of anti-Semitism, and what he found there absolutely horrified him. When he came back, instead of just staying quiet, he went public and exposed the persecution of Jewish writers and intellectuals happening in the Soviet Union. For that act of conscience, the party he had supported for so long expelled him. The stories we've already covered are just incredible, but honestly, they're just the beginning. This single day connects an even wider tapestry of brilliant minds. It's truly astonishing when you see it all together.
I mean, the list just keeps going. Also born or died on February 28th, you have Florian Cajori, who wrote the classic books on the history of math. The legendary physicist Freeman Dyson, Louis Nirenberg, a true giant in the world of partial differential equations, Pierre Fatou, who helped lay the groundwork for what we now call chaos theory, and Frigyes Riesz, one of the founders of functional analysis. It's just a staggering collection of talent for one day.
So the big takeaway here is that February 28th is so much more than just a date on a calendar. It's like a cross-section of history. It shows us the late bloomers, the obsessive dreamers, the principled activists. It's a powerful reminder that behind all the theorems and equations, there are these fascinating, complicated, and deeply human stories.
And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If just one day can hold so many incredible stories, what other hidden connections are just sitting there in the threads of history, waiting for us to notice?